Welcome back to another episode of The Playbook. Looking a bit sunburnt today, out of nowhere. Probably from the wrong club this morning. The weather has picked up in Dubai, and this morning there was 94% humidity, which means that the wrong club location might have to be reconsidered. I think I've hopped on here for the last few times and said just how unbelievable the growth has been, but I mean, last week to have over 52 people, and today to have close to the same, and a quarter of our followers have come through in the past 10 days or 2 weeks or so. Like, we had such a massive increase in growth over the past few weeks, and I don't know, around this time of year I always feel like there's a lot of change, and I've had so much change, and I've had so much different things go on, where I was going for a swim last weekend, and I was like, if the version of me 10 years ago could see the life that I'm living, how would that make him feel? Like what would 15-year-old Brian think of 25-year-old Brian and the life that he lives? Like, it could only be in my wildest dreams. Like, it could only be something that I would be watching on YouTube. Like, around 16, 17, I would have been watching people in the fitness space, like, your Rob Lipsitz and Mike Thurston's or whatever. And I would have seen the life that they were living and been like, oh my God, that is unbelievable. And I haven't actively pursued. It's funny because I haven't actively pursued things for the sake of it. Like, I haven't pursued things for the outcome and for that life and all of that, but just focusing on the job and focusing on performance and focusing on building and growing and just excelling in whatever in everything that I do. It's given me a life that I didn't intentionally decide to go after. Like, I mean, in the past week I've been promoted to leasing director, and yeah, it's just a title, but I've had over 50 individual people come down to the run club, like, in a massive amount of growth, where over 250 or nearly 300,000 people have viewed the page in the last 30 days, and I have a reel go over 100,000 views and over 300 followers as a result. It's like, and then I've had my face put on a fucking billboard, where if you're driving down one of the main roads here, you can see myself and some other brokers from different companies just up on a billboard. And I haven't gone and visited yet, but like all of these things, like I drive a nice car, and I've got my own apartment, and I get the luxury of deciding of what gym to go to, and like the facilities that I can do, and the fact I can go for a swim in the sea before work, or go for a run at the beach like before work or after work. Like, that's unbelievable. Like what the fuck? Like, 15-year-old me would be so grateful, or would only dream of that. So it's like, how about I become far more grateful for what I have? These things that I take for granted were dreams of mine 10 years ago. These things that I take for granted were only dreams of mine 10 years ago. Like, that hits different. So like, why don't I just decide to take more gratitude in those things? And I think it's the whole adaptation, where you get used to the things that you have, and as a result you move the goalpost a bit further. But just reminding myself to be far more grateful for those things, and through the practice of gratitude, and never take them for granted, because how lucky am I? And yeah, that I mean, today I wanted to speak about something that has been in the forefront of my mind over the past 2 weeks, and has really come to head in terms of a conversation that I had yesterday, where I had to let go of somebody within the team. And this idea of staying true to your word is like one of the core values in my life, and it's the core values, and I think it's one of the core values of what it means to be a man. And it has a trickle down effect and it has a trickle down kind of effect and impact in terms of all other aspects of your life. And it's one small, minute thing, but it has such a massive impact on the rest of your life that you can not even conceive of it. It's like, so what I've learned over my 2 years here is that talk is cheap, and people say that they want to do something, but they don't necessarily want to do it. Every single person that I have met within real estate says they want to be successful. And taken at face value, you're like, yeah, of course you do. And you assume that everybody stays true to their word just like you do, but everybody wants to be successful. Can everybody be successful? No. It's like if I take 20,000 real estate brokers and I'm like, hands up, which one of you don't want to be successful? Nobody will put their hands up. But only a small minority of people are actually successful. So it's like, we can say these things, but like, what meaning do they have if it's not backed up by evidence? And when I talk about staying true to your word, it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And I don't understand why people take it so lightly. And people say they're going to do something, and it doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't mean a thing to them, to other people, because time and time again, they've shown that they've broken their word. Like, and I'm a victim of that too. Like, I remember saying I was going to do like a Hyroxy thing where it was part of the Sevens tournament, and I committed to it, and I said I was going to do it, and then I pulled out. And that haunts me till today. And maybe the person who I let down is listening to the podcast, and I do apologize, but that still sticks with me. It's like, if I say I'm going to do something, like I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to do it. That's why if somebody asks me, am I going to do this, going to do that? It's just like, I don't commit to something until I'm 100% sure that I'm going to do it. Because if I let myself down and let others down, it's like slowly but surely I'm working away of who I am as an individual. So how does this affect you? So how is this something that you should consider? It's like, I've seen the end of the scale where there has been a compounding effect of not holding your word to yourself. And this comes from somebody within real estate. So if I'm trying to think, because I don't know how much of this I should go into. Fuck it. Right. So I have seen the negative consequences of somebody not holding their word to themselves. And this is in the minute, where I sat somebody down in a one-to-one and they pulled up, they said they struggled with time management and their schedule. I was like, okay, show me your schedule, show me your time management structures. And this person decided to show me their calendar where it said, 5 a.m. I wake up, gym at 6, in the office by 8:30, 3 hours of cold calls, 3 hours of deep focus work. What else was in there? And that was 5 days a week, every single day. And all the things are already put in there in their calendar. And I said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I was like, so that's what you do every day? He was like, no. And I was like, okay. So how much of this do you do? 10%? What? Like, do you understand how damaging that is? Do you understand how much of a negative impact that is? Like, if you say you're going to get up at 5 o'clock and you don't get up at 5 o'clock and you do that once, it's not the end of the world. But slowly but surely you fulfill these, you say you want to do these things like, okay, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. You don't do it. The next day, you don't do it. The third day, you don't do it. And every night you tell yourself you're going to do something, and then the following morning you don't do it. So then slowly but surely that saying you're going to do something and you not doing it drips into every aspect of your life. You know, you say you're going to eat clean, you don't, because you're used to giving up. You're used to not holding your word to yourself. It's like once you get used to that quitting, you get used to falling short, then it just becomes easier and easier for you not to hold your word to yourself. So that, you know, when you say you're going to keep it easy this weekend and you're going to have an early night, you don't, because you've got no sort of friction being like, oh no, it's important for me to hold my word to myself for my future self. And slowly but surely, you just remove any sort of holding true to yourself in terms of staying within integrity, and say when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do something. So that shows up in all aspects of your life. So let's say you're in a relationship and you say to your partner, I love you. Like, on the other side of that, as their partner, how can you believe what they say is true when time and time again they show you that they cannot get up on time, that they cannot make it to work on time, that they cannot go to the gym when they say they're going to, that they cannot eat healthy like they said they were going to do, that they can't have an early night when they're supposed to? It's just like, well, if everything that you say you're going to do over here and everything that you say just is completely based in zero reality whatsoever, how can I possibly even remotely accept that when you say you love me, you mean it? So then it becomes everything that comes out of this person's mouth is completely invalid. Completely invalid. Because show me proof, show me evidence of when you say something and it means something. So why this blows my mind is because then as a result, everything that this person said is false. It's just not true. There's no depth to it. There's no sustenance to it. There's nothing with it. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like transient. It's just like it has zero ground in reality whatsoever. So like somebody can say something to me and it can just be completely fucking false. Because if that same person comes to me and is like, Brian, I'm going to be successful this month, I want to close X, Y, and Z, you know, I want to be a successful real estate broker. It's just like, that's just noise. That's just noise. Like what you say is just false. And this reared its head in my previous job where my old managing director used to be like, oh, Brian, I'll see you in the gym at 6:30. And I remember this. And, oh, Brian, you know, I'm eating healthy. I'm going to lose all this weight. And then like I would get to the gym and he wouldn't be there. Then the next morning, I'll see you there. He wasn't there. Oh yeah, I'm going to eat healthy. I can see you not eating healthy. So it's like, okay, when you come to me and you're like, Brian, I'm going to do amazing things for this company. Brian, you know, we're going to build this into, you know, a formidable force in real estate. It's just like, well, how the fuck can I trust you? How the fuck can I trust you that you're going to do these amazing things when you can't even show up for yourself? When you're a grown adult and you can't get up for the gym, when you can't delay your gratification and get out of bed, and you can't delay your gratification and eat healthy. It's just like, how can I trust you that behind closed doors, after you say this to me and you turn around and do something else, that you'll actually live up to your word, that you'll start fulfilling the behaviors, that you'll start doing the things in order for us to get closer to the goals that you said, you know, to be a big name in the industry for, you know, Pam Jumeirah. It's just like, it means nothing. I can't trust you. So if I can't trust this person because they don't live up to their word, and I can't trust this person, and what this person says is completely false, then like that has such a deep impact on me, because I'm just like, I want to trust my word. I want to, when I say I'm going to do something, that I'm going to do it. I'm always going to live up to my word. I'm always going to stay true. And that means being realistic. And that means me being like, yeah, okay, let's say at the moment you're somebody who's getting up at 8 o'clock and you want to get up at 6. It's like, okay, then I'll start slowly being more realistic and like, okay, today I'll get up at 7. And then the day after that, maybe 7 o'clock again. And then in 2 weeks, maybe 6:45. But it's like, for me, it's so important to keep my word to myself and keep my word to other people, because the second that is not taken seriously, then everything that I say is not taken seriously. And then how can I show up for other people? How can, when my friends come to me with something and I call them out on it and I'm just like, you're not living up to yourself here, or you're not living with integrity, or you're not being true to yourself, or, holding the mirror up in front of them or trying to help them with something. How could they trust what I'm saying is true if I can't even show up for myself? And then, like, what's the point of being alive? Like, what's the point of living if everything that I say I'm going to do, I don't do? And I'm guided through life by my external environment, my emotions, and my impulses and desires. And it's like, it's funny because I've grown up around it, because growing up, from the early age of, growing up around somebody who has mental illness and has bipolar disorder, it's like somebody in a manic phase, if anybody has any experience with this, speaking to somebody in a manic phase is like they're in this hypermania phase where it's like the most upper end of happiness. And as a result, everything that they say is like, I'm going to build this, we've got this business idea, I'm going to, put together this team, or, I'm going to make this business, or, we're going to buy this house, or I've got this great idea, or like, and everything that they say is just like, I could not trust, because I knew that they would break those promises, where there was promises of a treehouse being built and a year later there was no progress, where, there was promises in mania phases of a new bike, or, a football team that was going to be put together. And then a few months later, there was nothing done. It's like, I've seen that. And then I've had a lack of respect for that person. And I never want that with my kids. I never want that with my son, where I'm saying something to my son and my son is thinking, nah, he's full of shit, he's not going to do it. Like, that would just rip my world apart. So it's so important, and it really frustrates me when I see men not living up to their word, because it's like, all you have to do is live up to your word, and then slowly that's half the battle. If you start taking on some responsibility, if you start living up to your word, if you do what you're going to say you're going to do, and you don't have to be ambitious, for fuck's sake, you don't have to, start at the upper end of like extreme and, say you're going to wake up at 4 a.m. and do 14 hours of work. It's just like, that's not impressive. You don't need to impress me. You just need to impress yourself. You just need to know that when you say something, that you're going to do it. And slowly but surely, you'll start trusting yourself. And slowly but surely, you'll start having more confidence and self-respect. And slowly and surely, but surely, you'll start showing up differently in the world. Like, this person that I let go, is just like, every single week we used to sit down together, and every single week they used to be like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And foolishly at the start, I always take people at their word, because who am I? Who am I to doubt? Who am I to judge? I always take people at their word, because they've not shown me any sort of proof that I should not take them at their word. Why wouldn't I? And slowly but surely, this person just completely ripped apart their life. And the only thing that is stopping this person from being successful is themselves. And I said this to him. I said, you're going to be your biggest obstacle. If you cannot delay your gratification, if you cannot hold your words to yourself, if you cannot do the difficult things for long periods of time, if you cannot sacrifice, if you cannot just think about the long term instead of the short term, you will not be successful. And then I sit down and I said, what happened? And he says, I don't like real estate. I like the idea of selling property, but I don't like doing the work. It's like, what? Hello? Like, that is life. That is life. Are we in an age where we see so many outcomes, so many end products, so much success that we don't see how the person got there? We never do. So bring yourself back to ground. Understand that it's going to be fucking difficult. It's going to be living in the weeds. It's going to be long hours, long weeks, long months of sacrifice, dedication, hard work, doing things that are uncomfortable. And slowly but surely you'll get used to doing things that are uncomfortable. I think this is it. Like, I think it's why it's important for me to do uncomfortable things is that I get used to them. So that now when I do things that are defined as uncomfortable for other people, it's just what I normally do. So that pain that I feel when I'm working out, that mental pain, that mental fatigue, the physical fatigue is like, this, I'm okay here. I'm okay living in this. I'm okay working in this. And then as a result, I can just wrap that out. As a result, I'm just so used to it. Now, obviously, taken to the extreme, you can just be lashing yourself for years and just being okay with it. And that's a problem that I need to figure out, because I'm like, okay, what happens if I'm just okay with just doing difficult things forever? And I don't necessarily want to do that, but it's like, okay, that's a problem that this guy wouldn't have. Because like I said, you never gave it a shot. And he said he did. So he didn't. He didn't. Giving it a shot is hours and days and weeks and long nights and sacrifice and discipline and showing up every single day. Showing up every single day for yourself consistently for long periods of time. It can be 3 months. Like if that person showed up and worked from 8:30 to 6:30 or 7 every single day, 6 days a week for 3 months, and actually did the right things, then you can say you gave it a shot, but you haven't. And it's just like everybody wants what you have, but nobody wants what it takes to get there. And I'm so comfortable with living in the weeds and doing the uncomfortable thing that I get what other people want by doing by doing the things that people simply won't do. But I don't see them as things that other people wouldn't do. I don't see them as difficult things because I'm so used to it. I've conditioned myself to be used to it. So that when people see like the end result, people see the outcome, that's just like, wow. But it's just like, it's not that hard. It is not that fucking hard. Like, this is what blows my mind. It's like, I didn't do a lot to get here. And it's only the beginning. Like, I don't really think I've even scratched the surface of like hard work, because like, I mean, put me in something that I truly enjoy, that I'm deeply passionate about, and then we'll see what happens. But that's caused a lot of frustration in sense of like, but I think it comes from me trying to understand an individual and me trying to understand it. It's just like, because I get so invested in other people's success and I get so invested in trying to help other people that I can't park it. And so many people have loaded me with their problems from like all ends of the spectrum, like coming with not ridiculous, but really difficult life situations and dumping them on me. And I'm going to have to, and I've gotten better at separating that, because my mum is a counsellor and I've always wondered how she can separate somebody unloading all of their deep trauma and their deep life issues and everything that goes with that, and how is she able to step outside and not think about that any longer. So that's something that I'm going to have to get better at, because I can't detach myself, because I get so invested in trying to help this person that it's like a detriment to me, and it causes frustration and it causes stress. Not stress, but it's just rumination and overthinking of what I can do to help them. But like, I mean, I can't help somebody who can't help themselves. And at the end of the day, there's only a certain amount I can do. And this is the nature of the job. But when I've invested time, energy, emotion into somebody, and then the second that they're not being watched by me or are guided or whatever, that they can't even fucking show up for themselves. And then as a result, a few weeks later, a few months later, they just pack up their shit and leave. It's just like, it's failure for me. And I don't like that. Like, I don't like that, because anything that I put my time and effort and energy into, I want to see an outcome that is positive. I want to see reward. I want to see this person succeed. I want for me to feel like I'm winning or succeeding, or, you know, that I'm seeing a positive outcome from all of this work. And time and time again, when I don't see that, when I see fail, when I feel like I'm failing, when I feel like I couldn't help this person, that's difficult for me. But I think it's like, there's a lot of learning in there, because I can't help everybody. I can't win at everything. I can't be successful. I can't in every little aspect. And I can change the definitions of success. And I can't be so invested in everybody's potential. Like, my mum said this. She was like, Brian, you fall in love with people's potential. Not fall in love in terms of the romantic sense, but like fall in love in terms of, I like to see somebody's potential, and I can see the truest side and their potential in this life. And I hold these expectations for this person and hold them to the standards that I hold myself to, which is unfair. Then as a result, when they ultimately aren't able to live up to those ridiculously high standards, then I get frustrated. But maybe this last 25 minutes of whatever has just been me venting. But it's so important to hold your word to yourself. It's so important in terms of how you show up for yourself and what you do behind closed doors, and what do you say you're going to do but don't do. It's the little things. It is the little things, because those little things compounded over a long enough period of time is like death by 1,000 cuts. Slowly but surely, you're scratching away at your sense of self. You're scratching away at your self-confidence. You're scratching away at your self-belief and your sense of self and your identity and your integrity and all of these things. And you're scratching away at that slowly but surely. Then as a result, after time and time again of you not showing up for yourself and holding your word, it's like, how can you be trusted? Like, how can you be trusted? And that's massive. And it's like actually implementing these things, because the very individual who didn't do any of these things was somebody who, you know, said that they listened to, I'm not going to say self-help podcasts, but like self-help orientated podcasts. And it's just like, well, if you're listening, if you were understanding, then you would be actually implementing some of the things. There's no point of people listening to fucking podcasts if it doesn't strike something up with you. If you're listening to this and you can't draw some similarities into your life, and you can't actually apply some of the things that I'm saying in terms of how you show up for yourself, then that's a waste of 30 minutes of your life. So actually extrapolating some ideas from somebody else's experience is the whole point of podcasts. And yeah, this is a bit of a venting session for me, but I mean, I think it's helping. But anyways, that's a bit of a life update in terms of where we are at the moment. I want to be more consistent with these. Ooh, there's me not holding up to my word. But I said it was going to be every second week. I never really said it was going to be every week. But I don't want to even say, oh yeah, it'll be every week, because then I have to do it. And then I will do it. Then as a result, I'll have to sacrifice other things. So it is what it is. It's doing it when I'm free, when I've got time at the weekend. If it is every second week, so be it. Not trying to be the biggest podcast in the world. Anyways, I hope you've derived some value from that. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. If you have, click that little like, rate and review the podcast on Spotify, and I will see you in the next one.